The metallic clang of the cell door resonated through the cavernous hall, a sound that seemed to echo endlessly, bouncing off the cold, unforgiving walls. Each reverberation was a stark reminder of the isolation and despair that permeated the prison. The dim lighting cast long, eerie shadows, creating an atmosphere thick with tension and foreboding. This was not just a place of confinement, it was a realm where hope came to die. The graffiti on the walls, scrawled by desperate hands, told stories of anguish and rebellion. The empty hallways seemed to whisper secrets of past torments, a chilling prelude to the horrors that would unfold. It was supposed to be just another night at Rikers Island, a place notorious for its harsh conditions and brutal regime. The night sky over the prison was a blanket of darkness, mirroring the despair within its walls. The compound, with its towering fences and watchtowers, stood as a fortress of misery. But for one young inmate, it would become a night etched in suffering. He sat in his cell, a picture of distress, his eyes filled with a mix of fear and defiance. The walls of his cell seemed to close in on him, a constant reminder of his captivity. He looked out, hoping for a glimpse of something, anything that could offer a shred of solace. Suddenly, the silence was shattered by a cacophony of screams and the sickening thud of fists against flesh. The air grew thick with the sounds of violence, each blow a testament to the brutality that reigned supreme. The young inmate could hear the chaos unfolding, the cries of pain and the desperate pleas for mercy. The guards, whether by calculated indifference or sheer negligence, were nowhere to be found. Their absence was a glaring omission, a betrayal of the duty they were sworn to uphold. The control room, usually a hub of activity, stood eerily silent, its monitors flickering with scenes of unchecked violence. Left to the mercy of predators in uniform, the young man endured a night of unimaginable brutality. The guards, who should have been protectors, became his tormentors. Each blow they delivered was a cruel reminder of his helplessness, each act of violence a testament to their unchecked power. His pleas for help were swallowed by the cold, unyielding walls, his cries for mercy lost in the void. The prison, a place meant to house and rehabilitate, had become a chamber of horrors. The echoes of his suffering lingered in the air, a haunting reminder of the darkness that dwelled within those walls. Rikers Island. The very name conjures images of despair, a place where dreams crumble into dust and hope withers under the weight of brutality. Envision a concrete jungle, where the air hangs heavy with the stench of fear and desperation. Violence is a constant companion, a brutal dance choreographed by despair. In this unforgiving realm, the strong prey on the weak and the innocent are often lost in the shadows. The thin blue line, meant to represent justice and order, becomes a cruel parody within the walls of Rikers. Stories abound of corrections officers who have succumbed to the allure of power, their oaths replaced by a toxic blend of apathy and corruption, smuggling contraband, orchestrating inmate fights for entertainment, turning a blind eye to violence. These become the tools of their twisted trade. The very individuals tasked with maintaining order become architects of chaos, their actions betraying the trust placed upon them. How does a beacon of justice transform into a symbol of despair? The answer lies in a system riddled with systemic failures. Chronic understaffing leaves guards overwhelmed and vulnerable to manipulation. Overcrowding breeds tension, turning the prison into a tinderbox waiting to ignite. And the lack of meaningful rehabilitation programs ensures that many who enter leave more broken than when they arrived. These failures, intertwined and mutually reinforcing, create a fertile ground for the horrors that unfold within Rikers' walls.
Section 5. Voices from the Abyss. Tales of trauma and loss. The true horrors of Rikers Island are best revealed through the voices that echo from its depths. These voices, often silenced by the walls that confine them, tell stories of unimaginable pain and suffering. Each story is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, yet also a grim reminder of the cruelty that can fester in such an environment. I remember the relentless bullying and extortion that permeated daily life. It wasn't just the physical abuse, the psychological torment was equally devastating. Every day was a battle for survival, a struggle to maintain a semblance of sanity in a place designed to break you. It was like a nightmare you couldn't wake up from. The nights were the worst. The darkness seemed to amplify every fear, every anxiety. Sleep was a luxury few could afford, as the constant threat of violence loomed over us. I saw things, unspeakable acts of violence. The brutality was beyond comprehension. Fights would break out over the smallest provocations, and the guards often turned a blind eye, or worse, participated in the cruelty. The screams of the victims still echo in my mind. Those images, they're forever seared into my memory. The faces of those who suffered, the bloodstains on the walls, the sheer hopelessness in the eyes of the inmates. It's a haunting tableau that I can't escape, no matter how hard I try. My story, it's a chilling testament to the human capacity for cruelty. But it's also a story of survival, of finding strength in the darkest of places. Writing became my refuge, a way to process the trauma and make sense of the chaos around me. It serves as a stark reminder of the darkness that thrives within those walls. Yet amidst the despair, there were moments of unexpected kindness, fleeting glimpses of humanity that gave me hope. These stories, both harrowing and heartening, need to be told, for they are the true voices from the abyss.
Section 6. The Price of Freedom, a Mother's Anguish. But the pain of Rikers extends far beyond the prison walls, leaving families and loved ones grappling with the emotional fallout. A mother, her face etched with worry and grief, shares the agonizing story of her son's descent into despair. Once full of life, he emerged from Rikers a changed man, haunted by the trauma he endured. His story, a poignant reminder of the human cost of this broken system, underscores the urgent need for change.
Section 7. Behind the bars, beyond the walls, the ripple effect. The ripple effect of Rikers Island's dysfunction extends far beyond the lives it directly touches. The cycle of violence, perpetuated within the prison walls, often spills out onto the streets as individuals released back into society carry their trauma and anger with them. The lack of adequate mental health and reintegration support further exacerbates the problem, creating a vicious cycle that perpetuates harm. Section 8. Can we forgive? Can we forget? The question of redemption. In the face of such profound suffering, the question arises, can we ever truly forgive? Can we, as a society, simply forget the horrors inflicted within those walls? The answer, complex and multifaceted, requires us to confront uncomfortable truths about our justice system and our responsibility to those we incarcerate. Section 9. A stain on our conscience, a call for justice. In the heart of New York City, Rikers Island stands as a stark indictment of our collective failure to uphold the principles of justice and human dignity. This sprawling complex, notorious for its inhumane conditions and systemic abuses, is more than just a prison. It is a symbol of a broken system that has long ignored the cries for reform and justice. Rikers Island stands as a stark indictment of our collective failure to uphold the principles of justice and human dignity. The stories that emerge from within its walls are harrowing, tales of neglect, violence, and despair. Each story is a reminder of the urgent need for change, a call to action that we can no longer afford to ignore. It is a stain on our conscience, a testament to the consequences of our inaction. The conditions in Rikers are not just a failure of the prison system, but a failure of society as a whole. We have allowed this institution to persist, despite knowing the horrors that occur within its confines. The time for complacency is long past. Every moment we delay is another moment of suffering for those trapped inside. The clock is ticking, and with each passing second, the urgency for reform grows stronger. We must act now, not just for the sake of those currently incarcerated, but for future generations who deserve a more just and humane system. We must demand better for the inmates, for their families, and for the very soul of our society. The impact of Rikers extends far beyond its walls, affecting the families and communities of those imprisoned. The emotional toll is immense, and the ripple effects are felt throughout society. And, for the very soul of our society, we must come together, as a community, to demand change. Solidarity is our strength, and together we can push for the reforms that are so desperately needed. This is not just about fixing a broken system. It is about healing the wounds of our society and building a future based on justice and compassion. The question is not whether we can afford to change, but whether we can afford not to. The cost of inaction is too high, measured not just in dollars, but in human lives and suffering. Policymakers must recognize that the true measure of a society is how it treats its most vulnerable members, but whether we can afford not to. The economic arguments against reform pale in comparison to the moral imperative. We must invest in a system that prioritizes rehabilitation over punishment, dignity over degradation. The time for change is now, and it is up to us to make it happen.